Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and I'm so happy to have our next guest. They're very involved in the Chamber of Commerce for many, many years, and it's been such a great opportunity to see this firm grow and do some incredible work. And as you know, we're facing some challenging times as immigrants, children of immigrants, and in the fourth largest city in America and in this country, there's a lot of confusion. And unfortunately, there's a big need to make sure that we're communicating information that people can use so that they understand their rights, know where to go, know what to do, and especially in this day and age, have a family plan. And so specifically, we want to talk to Daniel Ramirez, who's been a named partner at Monty and Ramirez, LLP. He's very involved here and he's done a lot of different organizations and activities. But certainly, Daniel, we want to definitely take just a moment to say thank you for the work that you and the firm are doing, have done, and for advocating for so many people on so many topics. And it's a challenging time. So if you would please, Danny, just walk us through from your perspective, what are some of the things that our business owners can do to know their rights? Let's start with that.
Yeah, thank you, Laura. Number one, it's the Latino community is important to me, so always happy to help. You're right. I think employers, not just in Houston, but throughout the nation, have to understand that there's been a significant shift with ICE enforcement. And I think in the news, we've seen a lot of enforcement where, unfortunately, they're, pursuing and arresting undocumented folks. But from the employer compliance perspective, they're also aggressively knocking on employers' doors to make sure that employers are compliant with immigration laws. And it's not so much that ICE is looking to arrest the workers that the companies are employing, but they're truly going after companies for monetary fines. They want money. They want to know if companies are complying with the law. And if not, they're being very aggressive to issue fines that are pretty hefty. I'll give you an example. Fortune 500 company, Fortune 10 company was audited just recently, and they're having to pay $25 million in this type of investigation. So it's not just, small mom and pop companies that are non-compliant. We're talking about the Fortune 10 companies that think they have A+ compliance that are also getting hefty fines. So I think in a nutshell, Laura, I think your members should know that they have to deal with a lot of compliance issues. And they have to make sure that they put this immigration compliance on the front end and not the back end, because once ICE shows up, it's too late to start or vet your compliance plan. At that stage, ICE is already vetting to make sure that you're in compliance. And if you're not, you're going to face, what they do and issue fines and related compliance components.
So if you already have an attorney and you have a business, get a jump start on it. Make sure that you are compliant. If there's something missing, handle it on the front end.
Yeah.
Just in the event that you get called upon, because then you're going to be in the middle of it. Okay, so that's one thing. Let's go back to people are out there minding their business and they get pulled over. Like, what are their rights? And I'm just saying by constable, HPD, anyone, ICE, what are your rights?
Right. So if you're driving down the street and you get pulled over for whatever reason, what we're seeing is a twofold initiative. For the most part, it's our deputy sheriffs or city police officers policing the streets. And there are agreements with these officers to cooperate with ICE because they receive federal funding. So that's what we're seeing when they're checking someone's license plate or asking you for a driver's license. They are vetting to identify whether or not that individual is authorized to work. And so what we're seeing, unfortunately, is if I'm undocumented and I get pulled over, then I'm going to be detained for that reason, and I could get handed over to ICE. But at the end of the day, I think what we need to advise folks in the street are that you do have rights. People should not be just asking you randomly off the street if you're walking down the street, whether you're a U.S. citizen or not. And you have the Fifth Amendment not to answer those questions. But at the end of the day, look, I think each situation is going to be different. I think taking a step back, you want to make sure that you're not put in a position to get pulled over in the first place, right? So you want to be as compliant as possible. But if you're in that situation, comply with the police officer. I think just go through that process. I think the other question you're asking, Dr. Murillo, is the more aggressive ICE tactics that we've seen. They've been stopping their vehicles at construction sites and creating a traffic stop there where they're asking individual workers, are you authorized to work? It's an unfortunate situation, but I mean, the federal government is being that active because under this administration, they've set forth a quota, believe it or not, of around 3,000 arrests per day. That's what this administration wants ICE to do. And the reality is they're not hitting 3,000. They're hitting about 1,500, maybe 1,000 per day. And think about it. If you give any salesman a high quota, that's going to make them push the envelope. It's going to make them do things outside the norm. And that's what we're seeing with ICE. I mean, all the activity you see on the news or just the activity you see everywhere, it's simply because of this high quota. And these folks, these officers have to try to comply with that. And that's why we're seeing these aggressive tactics, unfortunately.
So what else would you like to share with the audience that you think from a lawyer's perspective is important to know, anything that they can control?
Yeah, I think let's talk on the employer side, then I'll go to like the individual family side. Employers need to have a plan of action. So a lot of times, employers think about what if the police show up or what if an investigator shows up. They need to have a plan of action if ICE shows up. Because if ICE shows up to your company, you don't have to give them access unless they have a valid warrant. And those are the rights that companies need to know, is that they just can't go in the back of the offices and take records or speak to employees. They need a warrant for that. So I think they need a plan of action to know whoever interacts with that front end individual that shows up, ICE, is that they need to be trained about what they need to be asking. Do you have a warrant? And even if they have a warrant, what access is it giving? Okay. That's, I think, the employer side. Now, Dr. Murillo, I think on the family side, if they show up to our house and say, is John Jones in this house? You don't have to give them access to your house unless they have a warrant. I think I've seen a lot of videos on social media when ICE is showing up with what's called an administrative warrant. And there's a distinction. An administrative warrant is something signed by their supervisor, which doesn't give them access to your house. Now, if they have a federal warrant signed by a judge, that's different. But I would bet $5 that majority of time they don't have that federal warrant to access your house. So a family member needs to know too, you don't have to give them access unless they have that federal right. So I think there's similar initiatives. Have a plan of action, know your rights, and don't give anybody access unless they have that right to enter your house or business.
And we've talked about it before we went on air, is that every family, I mean, we live in a city that is prone to hurricanes, right?
Right.
Or we have family members who don't live in the same city. And so if the cell service goes out or we lose power for 4 days, that every family should have some type of a family plan. And if you're fortunate enough to have an attorney on speed dial, it's probably a good thing to go ahead and have someone that you can call. Not everyone does. So maybe, as you mentioned, it could be a religious leader. It could be a leader in the community, someone who knows you well, that can at the very least make sure that they can try to make some phone calls for you. If you have children who are underage, making sure that they have some phone numbers at home of people that they can call in the event something goes down or happens, or you get pulled over and they don't know what to do. So this is the time that we live in, and this is why the work that you and your colleagues with the Hispanic Business Association of Lawyers and so many other lawyers groups are so important, because you're providing pro bono services to individuals and families who need it. And so again, Danny, thank you so much for all you do, but I want to give you the last word. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience?
I think I'm going to go back to something I said earlier. Both in the family and business side, I think we need to be proactive and come up with our action plan now, because once ICE shows up or ICE is interacting with you, it's a high stressful situation. It creates panic and stress, and it's hard to create a plan of action at that point. So be very proactive on the business side to ensure that, you are training folks to ensure that they know what they're doing now, whether you're getting investigated or if it's a raid where they're showing up with a criminal warrant. And likewise, from the family side, talk to church members, talk to family members, and identify leaders that if you don't have an attorney, at least you have a person that might help you in that emergency situation. So I think it's very important to spend time now to proactively plan for that worst case scenario.
Very well. Well, Danny, to you and the entire team, thank you so much for all you do. We'll be seeing you very soon. And if you're watching, again, we ask you to please visit our website at HoustonHispanicChamber.com for sponsorship opportunities, networking events, etc. We'll see you then. And Danny, see you real soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.